My name is Diane, and I cry all night long. I'm in a terrible position. I need to raise money, a lot of money, to help a dear person. The person who raised me. And now my parents have kicked her out of the house. This is about my grandmother Molly. It pains me to say, but now she lives in a nursing home. Even though a year ago she was living with my dad and mom and looking after me. More specifically, she raised me because my mom gave birth to me very young. She handed me over to Molly, who had retired by then, and went off to build her career. My grandmother loved me. She used to sing me lullabies, tell me interesting stories, and bake me delicious cookies. She replaced my father and mother in many ways. She taught me to count and read, and school was very easy for me. But as I got a little older, I began to notice that her company was weighing on my mother. I no longer demanded such care, and my mother began to be jealous of me and Molly. After all, I was very attached to my grandmother. She was always tucking me in at night and making delicious breakfasts. One day, I overheard a conversation I would have never heard better. What exactly shocked me so much? You'll find out in a minute. But for now, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell. Mom was arguing with Grandma in the hallway. I just got home from school. They didn't notice me. Mom was again reprimanding Grandma for indulging me a lot. Suddenly, my grandma exclaimed, "My son spoils you a lot too, since he doesn't notice what's going on under his nose." Mom went pale, and Grandma wouldn't let up. "I know the reason for your constant delays at work. I saw you get out of the car, which was parked a block away. I saw you kissing too. That's enough. This is none of your business." And my mother leaned in and whispered, "You'd better get out of here." And suddenly they both saw me. I was huddled against the wall, realizing that something terrible had happened. Mom snorted and hurried away with a quick step. And my grandmother, trying to unobtrusively wave her tears, smiled at me. But that smile only made it worse. After this confrontation, my grandmother's health deteriorated sharply. The pungent aroma of medicines settled in her room. I understood that she was worried about my mother's words. I got off the bus when the streetlights were already on after school for the drama club. We were rehearsing a play for the school's 200th anniversary. The bus stop was a block away. I had just pulled out my headphones when I heard the familiar laughter, and I saw my mother. She was standing near a black SUV with her back to me. Someone was hugging her and whispering something in her ear, not letting go of her hand. I hid behind a tree, realizing that this someone was obviously not my dad. Suddenly, a car passing by lit up the couple for a moment, and my heart sank. It was Mr. Bishop, Mom's boss. I recognized him because a couple of months ago, he and his wife came to our house for dinner. Mom got a promotion, and Dad said such a gentle toast about Mom. I even cried. But Mr. Bishop went to smoke outside, and there he was, whispering something in my mother's ear, and she was laughing gleefully, looking around from time to time. I took a couple of pictures and a short video and walked home at a brisk pace. I was clutching inside, either with pity or anger or resentment, but I wouldn't let Grandma Molly get hurt again. If my mother tried to fight with her again, I'd show her the pictures. Suddenly, I was blinded by the lights of the ambulance outside my house. Oh no! Grandma! My eyes were blurry when I saw them carrying her out on a stretcher. Grandma was in the hospital for 2 weeks. I visited her every day. And during that time, my mother tried to convince my father to put my grandmother in a nursing home. Yes. The hospital told us that Grandma needed round-the-clock care, medicine, shots, and Mom pressured Dad. We can't afford a 24-hour nurse, but a nursing home would take excellent care of her. And Dad was persuaded. The nursing home was awfully far. It took me about 4 hours to get there. I couldn't go there every day, only on the weekends, and my grandmother would greet me with eyes full of tears. I tried to talk to my dad. He wasn't happy about this decision either, but he showed me how much the caregiver cost and lowered his eyes in embarrassment. We didn't have enough money for that. I cried all night. Where would I get the money to take my beloved grandmother home? Aren't there any options? In the morning, I barely opened my swollen eyes and looked at my phone. Suddenly, it hit me. Pictures, videos. I know about Mom's affair. I'll tell her to ask for money for Mr. Bishop, or I'll tell my dad everything. But my mom didn't react to my threats the way I expected. She waved me off and started packing. It was as if she was just waiting for this. Dad and I were alone in the house. We didn't talk about what had happened. We just went out to Grandma's more often, almost every day. And Grandma started to blossom before our eyes. She started to get out of bed little by little. And after 2 weeks, we were allowed to take her home. Of course, she needed a strict regimen, but I agreed not to sleep at night, just to have my beloved grandmother by my side. Little by little, everything went back to normal. I was happy. My favorite people are near me. I talk to my mother very rarely, but I do not hold it against her. We all have the right to make mistakes, right? Hi! Have embarrassing situations ever happened to you? Such things happen all the time to me. And it's all because I have a huge butt. In fact, I have the biggest butt in our school. Even chemistry teacher's butt is much smaller, although it is a grown woman. All the attention of people around me is directed only towards me. More precisely, towards my butt. They even call me Big Ass Lucy. And believe me, I am very uncomfortable to hear such words in my direction. When I'm sitting at the desk, there's no problem. But as soon as our teacher calls me to the blackboard, I immediately get up, and along with me rises all the desk where I sit. Then everyone starts laughing. And how embarrassing it was for me when I decided to sit down and ride the swing in the park. My butt got stuck in the seat, and I had to call a lifeguard to get out of it. It was terribly embarrassing. But the real problems, because of my big butt, happened to me recently, after I got a boyfriend. The thing is, I met Matt online, and I posted a picture of myself in which I was waist length, and my large butt size was not visible at all. Matt lives close to me and goes to a nearby school, but we hadn't really crossed paths before. But once we started texting, we knew we were made for each other. We listened to the same music, watched the same shows, even liked the same movies and books. Also, Matt is a nice, funny, and very positive guy from a good family. I texted with him for a long time, and I was afraid he would see me in full growth. So I suggested our first date to go to the movies together. I got to the date a little early that day and immediately took a seat in the hall, and then texted Matt that I was already waiting for him. We watched the movie, talked, and laughed a lot. But before the credits rolled, I told him I had to go home right away and asked him to watch it till the end and tell me how it ended. Matt agreed, and before the lights came on, I quickly ran out of there. I managed to hide the fact that I had a big ass from him. For the next few dates, we'd meet right away at the cafe or walk through the park in the dark. But eventually, any secret would come out, and Matt saw me right in the middle of the street in tight-fitting leggings. When he saw me, he was really surprised. But he didn't say anything, and I thought he was okay with my figure. But no. As it turned out, Matt really liked me. He practically fell in love with me. But his friends made fun of me all the time and told him to break up with me. One day, he came to me and said he wants to have a frank conversation. He asked me to lose weight so I wouldn't stand out too much among the other girls. Of course I said yes. I really didn't want Matt to feel bad about the way I looked. So I started a low-calorie diet. I had a slice of apple in the morning, a hard-boiled egg for lunch, and a light salad in the evening. After a couple of days, I felt that I was losing weight. But the size of my butt remained the same. And the thickness of the legs, arms, breasts noticeably decreased. My cheeks disappeared. My stomach began to hurt. And my head was constantly dizzy. I began to feel weak, and at one point even fainted. When my mother found out about this, she got very angry. My mom said that a big butt, this is our family trait, and there is nothing terrible about it. On the contrary, I should take it as a gift. The more comfortable and softer it is to sit on it. And if I'm going to eat less than needed, then I'll go to the hospital, and I'll have a long and difficult treatment. I agreed with my mom. Since I can't change my body at the request of another person. So I met with Matt again and told him that I was stopping the diet or I might get seriously ill. Matt was really upset. He said he supports me and wants me to be healthy too. And he also wants the guys to stop teasing me and making fun of our relationship. He hinted that some clinics do fat removal surgeries. At first, I was offended to hear that. But I feel so bad for Matt. That because he loves me, he has to endure all this humiliation from his circle. Maybe I should really decide to get this weird procedure and shrink my butt. Especially since it's giving me so much trouble now. What would you do? Please write in the comments so that I know what I should do. I would appreciate it.